I, 28F, have an older sister, 33F. Our parents divorced when we were 4 and 9. Our mother got full custody because our father was not a good person. Then our father kidnapped us. From 4 to 16 I lived with her and our father in a cult. It was your run-of-the-mill Christian cult. Homeschooled, forced to dress modestly, any type of independence is seen as sinning. Etc. When I was 16, the cops finally arrested him and we were reunited with our mom. The first few years of freedom were wild. We finally got to grow as individuals, experience normal life, and face our traumas in therapy. My sister became a tattooed pink-haired career woman. I went to college, worked for a couple of years, met a good man, and decided that being a SAHM is what I really want. Looking at me, you would think that I am embodying what we were taught as kids in the cult, but that's not true. I just find myself in dressing in feminine clothes, taking care of my home, my husband and my kid. I am an equal in my relationship, I know how to assert myself, and am as far from what I used to be as my sister is. My sister on the other hand doesn't think so. She takes every opportunity we meet to try and save me. She tries to convince me to leave my husband and my kid, pushes me to get a job, tries to force me to go clubbing with her, tried to force me to get makeovers etc. I finally had enough yesterday. She made a dating profile for me on Tinder, and she has been chatting with a guy and had set a date already. I was furious. So we got into a screaming match that ended up with me telling her, "You are exactly like Dad, you are both trying to change me to fit the idea of what you think I should be." She was shocked, didn't say anything, and just left. Her partner told me that she had an anxiety attack and is ramping up her therapy sessions. And now I am feeling like an idiot. Not the idiot. What you said is exactly right. She wouldn't listen to you before. Sometimes it takes a verbal slap in the face with reality to get through to someone. Something that I've learned, the people who visibly rebel the most tend to be the ones who are the most similar to what they're rebelling from. The sister embodies this intensely, given her need for control. I agree, and for this reason, I'm actually gonna go with no idiots here. OP, first, I'm really glad you're both out of that situation. Even though you and your sister went through it together, it sounds like the experience affected you pretty differently, which makes sense since you're two different people. Based on what her partner told you about your sister's reaction, it sounds like her identity as the rebellious one is actually pretty brittle, sort of like an emotional exoskeleton. What you said to her wouldn't have affected her so much if there hadn't been a kernel of truth to it. It was hard to hear, but the good news is that she was ready to hear it. I know that because she heard it. If she wasn't ready for it, she'd have shut it down instantly by lashing out at you, doubling down on the party girl thing, etc. She'd probably have quit therapy too, but that's not what she did. She heard what you said and recognized the truth of it, and she's dealing with it in an appropriate way. It would probably be good to let her know you love her and that you're there for her, but also to give her some space and follow her lead for a bit. I know this is upsetting, but it also sounds pretty healthy. I think you're both gonna be okay. The moment you start pretending to be someone else online, you become the idiot. OP is married. If her husband or anyone who knew her saw that Tinder account, she'd be receiving the heat for it, not the sister. Sister is an equal victim of the cult, but OP didn't steal her identity online. That tips it to not the idiot for me. She needed to hear the truth. OP ramping up her therapy sessions is the best thing she can do right now. All the women I know in abusive relationships have careers. She needs to learn that's not a way to measure freedom. Definitely not the idiot. It sounds like you are happy and secure in being who you want to be. It's not your fault that she can't see or accept that. It almost feels like she is overcompensating for the lifestyle you had growing up while you've found your middle ground. For her to create a Tinder profile for her happily married sister and even chat up guys as you is wrong on so many levels, crosses so many lines that I can't even find the proper word for my disgust. I am living with my family. It's me, a 15-year-old girl, my twin brothers who are 17, and my parents. My dad cusses a lot, and so do my older brothers. But apparently, the standards are different for me. My dad overheard me saying a couple of cuss words when I was on the phone with my friends, and he got mad at me for my language and for how trashy and unladylike it was. This wasn't the first time he called me, and only me, out for bad language, but it was the one that frustrated me the most because I could tell there was a double standard. I thought of calling him out on his language and hypocrisy, but then I had a different idea. I said that yeah, it was a bad habit I was forming and didn't want to make a pattern because if I got in the habit of cussing a lot, that wouldn't make me come off well when I start getting jobs or going to college. And as I was growing up, I wanted to learn how to speak respectfully and intelligently. But it was hard to keep from bad habits when I heard him and my brothers having potty mouth syndrome so often. They're setting an example whether they realize it or not, so I wanted to work on things for myself, but also together as a family. I suggested we make a swear tax where if anyone swears in front of anyone else who's participating, they give $1 to each person who heard them. I'd want that rule for myself because it would keep me accountable and I'd really like it if the family joined me in it. So my dad said he'd join, and so would my mom. They got my brothers to be a part of it too. They didn't really have a choice, my parents decided to make it a rule. I know it's kinda petty, but I wanted to make the point that my dad and brothers swear a lot and I almost never do. In the few months we've had the rule, I've gotten about $250 from hearing my dad and brothers cuss and have not sworn once. It's kinda making my brothers angry because they often cuss when they're mad and I ask them for money, so they get madder and cuss more, so I get more money until they shut up. My dad actually got mad at me too. He was having some drinks, calling his brother, and talking, and I came over after and asked for $18. He actually said he wouldn't give me that much and there should be a cutoff. He gave me $5, which sends a weird message. Like swearing is bad, unless you wanna swear a lot, then it's cool. I feel like I've made my point already, so really now I'm just continuing to want the family to learn not to cuss for the money, and it's really making my brothers mad. Am I the idiot for having the idea for the family swear tax after my dad got angry at me for swearing? I did it because I know I swear the least out of my family, but I was the only one getting in trouble for it. Not the idiot, they agreed to it, they have to play by the rules. Amazing how OP made them literally pay for their hypocrisy and gender view on her swearing. Not the idiot. That was actually a genius way to handle the situation. I would have been petty and angry and would have just sworn more, especially after the unladylike comment. Not the idiot, so long as you aren't misusing the rule. For example, if your dad was talking on the phone in a room separate from you and you went and sat in the room unannounced for the sole purpose of gaining money. Otherwise, good on you for fighting the double standard and making bank while doing it. I'm a 28-year-old male, and I've been friends with my roommate, a 25 female, ever since we were babies. Our families were neighbors and we grew up together. She's like a little sister to me and has always been. After she graduated college, she moved to the same city I currently work in, and since she couldn't find an apartment close enough to where she worked, I told her she could live with me. We'd share bills and become roommates. We never really had problems or fights as we had known each other for so long. However, recently, things have taken a strange turn. She got involved with someone from her work. The guy seemed to be a nice guy. I have only ever spoken to him 3 times as they usually keep to her room. But he was very friendly, and honestly I was happy she found someone who seemed that nice. After a few months of their relationship, she sent me a text saying she needed to talk with me. I figured there might be something wrong with the apartment. It's not uncommon for things to break. But I was wrong. When I got home we started to talk. It's too long to explain everything, so I'll just summarize. She told me that while she enjoyed living with me, her boyfriend was starting to get jealous of his woman living with another man. At first, I raised an eyebrow but thought that this kind of thing isn't uncommon. So I was like, oh, it's fine. Just let me know when you plan on leaving, hope you two find a good place. However, apparently, I was wrong. She told me that she wasn't leaving. She said that it was impossible to find someone closer to her work and that she was hoping I would let her take the apartment instead since my work wasn't close and all that. Thing is, I really love my place. It's close to the gym, to the grocery store, to pretty much everything. I'm not gonna just leave my place because of something so stupid as this, and I told that flat out that it wasn't going to happen. She got visibly upset and started to rant about me being an egotistical idiot. That I didn't have the empathy to put myself in her shoes. This happened a few days ago, and she's shut herself in her room, only ever leaving to go to work or to pick up her boyfriend, who became really unfriendly to me after that. Now, usually, I can be an idiot. But I don't think this was one of these times. So I thought I would ask for the verdict. Am I really such an idiot? P.S. Her name isn't on the lease as I lived in the same place for 2 years before she moved in. Let me get this straight. You have known her for over 2 decades. You welcome her into your home, and now she expects you to leave so she can live with her jealous BF that she's just gotten on with? Not the idiot, bro, she is. Big time. Look at how she treats someone who is like a sibling. I'm super curious as to why she's not going over to her boyfriend's place. Why don't the friend and her boyfriend find a place of their own rather than try to kick someone out who was nice enough to let her move to another place? Maybe she told BF it was her place and she was being a great friend letting OP crash there. Now she's caught out in the lie. Oh my god. Not the idiot. She can pack her entitlement up with her crap and move out. It's your apartment. You did her the favor. What audacity, I swear.